I am absolutely delighted to be here. I'm obviously here with Premier Newman and members of his team. I'm sure he will introduce. And from my team, I've got Jenny Macklin, our Minister for Disability Reform, and Graham Perrott, who is the local member, and it's great to be in your patch of the world at this very impressive facility. Thank you very much for hosting us here today, and thank you for gathering in such large numbers too. The Premier and I have joined together today to make an important announcement for the people of Queensland, indeed an important announcement for our whole nation. And I know I'm looking out on a crowd of people who could tell me, could tell all of us, the whole nation, about the problems that there currently are with care for people with disabilities. For so long in Australia, people with disabilities have had to put up with an underfunded and fragmented system. That's meant things like people not being able to get the personal support they need to have a shower more than once a week. People having to have fundraisers to get a new wheelchair because the system wasn't going to deliver them a new wheelchair. These are the practical, real-world problems that families have had to live with, and it's not good enough for Australians to have to live with those pressures and strains. And here, particularly in Queensland, people have felt those stresses and strains. People with disabilities, their families, their carers, their friends, their loved ones have for a long period of time now asked us as a nation to do better. For too long, their voices went unheard. I'm very pleased that as a government, the federal Labor government, we listened to those voices and embarked on a journey to create a national disability insurance scheme. Whilst that journey has taken some time, the last few weeks have seen amazing steps forward in realising that national scheme of care, disability care, right around Australia. Over the last few weeks, we've seen a funding source secured for disability care in the form of a Medicare levy with bipartisan support. I've been able to enter into an agreement with Victoria and with Tasmania, and I'm proud today that I'm here able to enter such an agreement with the great state of Queensland too, and I thank Premier Newman for that. The agreement that we are announcing today means that disability care will be rolled out in Queensland. The rollout will start in mid-2016 after Queensland has worked hard to come up to benchmarks that other states are also being asked to achieve. And then it will ramp up to mid-2019 when it will be in full operation. That will make a difference to almost 100,000 people in Queensland with severe disabilities, people who need care and support and need that care and support from us. This is a big thing to do. It's also a costly thing to do. And so, as two governments, we've had to work together to put the money together to make this happen. To take 1 year of operation, a full year of operation in 2019-2020, what the agreement today means is that the federal government in that year would contribute $2.1 billion and the state government would contribute $2 billion. That's a lot of money, but it will make a real difference in the lives of people with disabilities. With today's agreement, we reach the stage where almost 90% of Australians are going to be covered by disability care. The agreements are done to cover almost 90% of Australians. So can I use this opportunity to say to the Chief Minister of the Northern Territory and to the Premier of Western Australia, I do want to work with you to make sure that those places and the people in the Northern Territory and Western Australia get covered by this scheme too. So with those words, I'll turn to Premier Newman for his contribution.
Well, thank you very much, Prime Minister. I'd like to welcome the Prime Minister here to McGregor today, and also to Minister Macklin. I acknowledge Graham Perrott, whose lecturate is in, and also we have Minister Tracy Davis and Mark Stewart, the State Member for Sunnybank. Great to be here with all of you. Well, I guess, ladies and gentlemen, it's a fair comment to say that as you look across the nation, I don't think you find too many families where somebody doesn't have a close relative or a close friend that is affected by a disability. And indeed, that is the case in my own family, where a close relative lived a normal life for many years in business and then ended up with an acquired brain injury, which meant that they had a significant disability, having to then live with their elderly mother as their carer on an ongoing permanent basis. So throughout this whole debate, I've been painfully conscious from a personal perspective of the needs of people with disabilities, and particularly what it means to families to have to care for somebody, a close relative, in such circumstances. I am absolutely thrilled and delighted to be here with the Prime Minister. This is a historic moment, and I say to the people who are here today that have disabilities and their friends and families, congratulations. You have fought the good fight. You have convinced your fellow Australians and Queenslanders of the need to do something better than we've done before. So it's a very, very special day, and the day is yours, and I am thrilled for all of you. I want to thank the Prime Minister for making the decision on the levy. This is a new, important scheme. It is something we haven't done before, and it's important that Australians who say they want to help understand that when you say you want to help and you ask government, whether it be the state or the federal governments, to chip in and to do something, then ultimately we're the ones as a community that have to chip in. But I acknowledge that it was a big decision for the Prime Minister to make that call last week. But it is the important decision that gets this whole thing across the line. So congratulations, Prime Minister. It's an important initiative. And I certainly, again, of course, strongly support that. What does it mean for Queenslanders? Well, currently about 45,000 people get support under the current arrangements in Queensland, and yet there are many, many more, tens of thousands of more, who need support right now. But sadly, only those with the greatest of needs have to date been funded in Queensland. Currently, we put in around $900 million a year, and that will rise, as I committed in December last year, to about $1.8 billion a year in only 5 years' time. With the money coming from the levy, that rises to $2 billion, and essentially you're seeing an approximately 50-50 arrangement with the Commonwealth. Well, what does that mean? It means we go from just under 45,000 people a year getting support, as the Prime Minister said, to around 97,000 people across Queensland getting that support. And that is right, it is just, it is appropriate. So I want to thank again everybody involved in working so hard for this. I thank my Minister, I thank Mr Macklin, the Prime Minister, for their work to make this all happen. I am truly delighted and thrilled to be on a very historic day for Australia and for Queensland. Thank you.